Yeah, I think the game was a good game for us after the first 15 or 20 minutes. Bit of a slow start for the group. Uh, really proud of the way we responded, going down a goal, and then coming out in the second half. Thought we were, really aggressive, and again, at 1-1 coming out to play for a win. So just proud of the group, the way they did it, created goal scoring chances. Uh, Gets end of the MLS games always get crazy, so maybe a little bit more under control, but really proud of the team and just the way they came together. The guys, the solutions that came off the bench, I think made a really big impact, and so credit to those guys to be ready, and yeah, just a great team performance.
We're going to start with questions. We'll start with Steve. If you guys have two, go ahead and ask them, and we'll go to Jacob and Ben.
Steve Lehman, Channel 5, Nashville. BJ, talk a little bit about the craziness. You've come out on the wrong end of a couple of these that have been decided in the final few minutes. To be pushing the way you were in the second half and to finally get over the hump tonight, how good does that feel and how rewarding is that?
Yeah, I think, during the week, and even right before the match, we told, the message to the guys and, from all of us was, we want to have this 90-minute mentality that we're playing like ourselves for 90 minutes. And some of those lessons we had to learn in the past couple of weeks. But I think, we were able to do that, and really proud of the guys just to stick together and put in a big shift tonight versus a very, very good Salt Lake team that can hurt you in a lot of ways. And so, tonight I think we end up on the right side of a result versus a really good team.
Yeah. BJ, what kind of confidence and maybe momentum comes from a win like this, come from behind win, I think your first of the season, and then a win in the final, few minutes of the game, especially after two losses that have come that way?
Yeah, I mean, I just think for us it's sticking to evaluating our performances and kind of trying to always get better. And we thought we've been putting in good, I would say good performances over the last couple of weeks, with maybe the end result not going our way and having to use those moments to learn from. And tonight I thought, we were able to sort of take another mini step forward with that, taking some learning lessons and now applying it and being able to get the result tonight.
And what were your thoughts on, I guess the defense without Walker Zimmerman, especially Jason Palacios making his first start?
Yeah, I think, again, we have a next man up mentality here. So Jason was the next guy to step up, made his first, MLS debut, Nashville debut as a starter. And, I think he did a really good job. I think the whole back line plus Joe, did a good job. It's a dynamic attacking team that they were up against that send a lot of numbers forward. And they handled a lot of situations and made good adjustments. I think they adjusted well throughout the throughout the end of the first half into the second half. So a good credit to the whole back line.
Go Ben, and then Nick and Claudio.
Yeah, BJ, it looked like Hani and Sam were a little bit frustrated with each other coming off at halftime, I guess after maybe some of the misconnections. And then obviously Hani taking the ball initially to take the penalty kick and then handing it off to Sam at the last minute. What did you just kind of make of their interaction?
Yeah, I would look at that as sort of two separate moments. I think that the first moment of being upset after the first half, that's I think two competitors that want to score goals. And we talked together as a group of there's going to be frustration when there's goal scoring chances out there, and that's what we had in the first half, and that's what we built on in the first half to the second half was we knew that we were going to get chances, so it was just about staying focused and seizing that moment when it arrives. I think what you see with the penalty might be a little bit of not so much between Sam and Hani, maybe a bit of gamesmanship as to keeping people guessing as to who might take it.
And then I wanted to ask about Gaston. It felt like he had a really important performance in midfield and was pushing a lot of the chance creation for midfield. What did you just make of his performance?
Yeah, I thought Gaston does a really good job of controlling the tempo of the game. He's able to go and settle it down and get it off the back line. But at the same time, when it's time to transition or break lines and advance us forward, you saw that he has that ability. I wish some of his final passes came off tonight because there was a few real close ones that, he was almost playmaking at the top of the box. But a really good performance, and I think a lot of what he does and maybe gets noticed is with the ball, but his work rate, his ability to sort of cut passing lanes, his ability to sort of intercept balls and like deflect balls defensively, I think maybe he doesn't get as much credit as he deserves.
BJ, coming into this game, Palacios making his MLS debut. I want to get your thoughts on just the way Andy Nahar played along with Palacios and the rest of the back four, because it seemed like he was more picking and choosing his battles when to kind of incorporate himself into the attack. Whereas in the second half, I guess when Yazbek came on, it just seemed like more of a natural flowing attack for your side. Just speak a bit about his performance and just the rest of everybody incorporating that midfield.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Andy had a big challenge tonight. The way Salt Lake plays is, they're in the first half they're overloading his side with a player rolling out, a player low, and a player high. So it's almost 3 players on that side. So it was for him. I think he handled it really well in a difficult situation with the connection of Gaston, Jason, Andy, and Ahmed. And I think in the second half those guys were able to make a few adjustments. And we were able to defend it a little bit differently, which maybe kept Andy home a little bit longer. But at the same time, I thought the connection of the whole back four all the way to the last header that Andy makes, which is a big play, and at the end of the game to just kind of clear it out of danger. So a good performance from him.
I was going to follow up with that. I guess how much that had to contribute to Palacios and just the familiarity into the starting lineup. Did it have anything to do with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, listen, we're always trying to build relationships, so it's going to take time. You're going to need game time together. And so it's sort of I wouldn't just say it's kind of the whole right side of the field that are sort of learning. And as much as you train it, you need the games, and you don't know what the opponent's going to do until they do it. So I thought those guys, worked through the game together in a really smart and adaptable way.
BJ, we have a kind of a conversation during the week, trying to guess what you will do this week in terms of replacing Walker. Obviously, we know now, but what was your thought process? Because a lot of us thought that Bauer would be starting there, because he's done it before and all that stuff. But what's your thought process instead of deciding for Jason with a few minutes before doing Bauer in the middle?
Yeah, I think it's for us. I think it's kind of straightforward. Jason was the next center back up. Josh, we've been training as the right back in competition with Andy. Where there's a little bit. Julian Gaines is out injured, so that sort of creates. Like Josh sliding over there and being able to be cover for Andy at this point and compete for the position with Andy. And so for us it was just Jason was the next man up, and he'll continue to compete for that position as well.
Now, when you always tell us about the everybody defends, everybody attacks on this team, and of course that shows better sometimes depending on the rival. But when you look at Dan Lovitz scoring that header right there in the middle of the small area almost, what was your feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I think Dan's a guy who tells us every week he wants to be in the attacking set pieces, and then he can head the ball. So I think it was, Dan being a true pro and focused on what his roles and responsibilities are, no matter what sort of job he's given. I thought, and kind of, doing your job. And Dan capitalized on it, but it was a big moment for us to kind of get that to go 1-1 and I think settle the game down a little bit. So it's again, each kind of phase of play you have a role and a responsibility, and he was able to execute.
BJ, to start the game, it looked like RSL had the best, a better outcome, I guess, for the first 20 minutes or so. It looked like they were more in control. There were a lot of chances they created, and then kind of everything switched from that point on. And Nashville, you guys played yourself back into the game. Can you just explain maybe what happened there in terms of, was it something they were doing, or was it something that you guys did to switch it up and maybe try to be on the front foot?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first 15, 20 minutes, they were on the front foot, and we were not. We came out slow. With the ball, I think we were just a little bit slow, a little bit disconnected, not kind of finding really good ways to break through them. And even at the same time, I thought we missed a few opportunities to kind of play behind them with sort of the pressure that they were putting on us. But I think, we were able to make a few adjustments after that point. I think we were able to sort of get Gaston and Eddie on the ball a little bit more. We talked about Gaston kind of controlling the tempo. I think, trying to create a couple overloads in the first half was a little bit more on that right side. And I thought we started to have a little bit of success. And then, I think defensively we picked it up. We're probably a little bit, let's say, disconnected or a bit passive in sort of how we wanted to press the middle players. And then once we started to create those turnovers, I thought we were able to get some momentum going.
And then you mentioned the substitutions and the contribution that they brought in. When you're looking at Perez and Schaffelberg, what do they need to do to earn a start? And did they do enough tonight to maybe be considered?
Yeah, I mean, I think you saw the positive impact they all made, and not only from a standpoint of, their output, but just their adaptability. Patrick comes in and plays kind of in the right wing position, and then moves into center mid. Jacob kind of plays left winger and then ends the game playing left wing back in a pseudo back five to try to close the game out. I think you saw Johnny. I mean, 5 seconds into his appearance, he almost has a chance. So, a really good mentality for those guys. And I think, they know when their number's called, they're showing that they're going to be ready. And I think, it shows across the board that we have confidence to go, to the team, whether it's Jason stepping up, and we've had Josh Bauer step up, and Jacob and Johnny and Gaston and those guys like Patrick. They're, I think you're starting to see a group that's a really close connected group that, knows their roles and knows their responsibilities and comes with a great mentality to compete every day.
Thanks, Coach. Thanks, guys. We'll be right back with Sam Surridge.
Great, thanks, guys.
And we're back with Nashville SC forward Sam Surridge. Sam, game-winning goal on the PK and added time. Just talk about that and then talk about the win for the team.
Yeah, it was a big win. I think we needed it. I think it was important that we got this win because we didn't want to either lose or draw 3 bad results in a row. So a win was important.
Great. We'll do the same thing. Start with Steve. That's 2 if you have them, and we'll just go down the line.
Sam, you guys were really pressing there in the second half. You had the run of play, but you weren't getting that chance to go. How big was, especially given the last 2 matches, that you guys were able to finally capitalize and you step up and knock in the PK?
Yeah, it was massive. I think if you look at our past 2 performances, obviously some would say they might not be good enough to win, but I think definitely we deserve to win one of them. I think tonight was important that we actually got the job done. And look at it going forward. We can show that we can score goals in injury time as well, which is a big thing. And I think we just need to keep the mentality. We need to start quicker in games. I think in the first half we was slower, and I think second half we were really good. And it was just one of them things. We did have chances in the first half, but we know we can be better. So.
Sam, on the penalty kick, it looked like Hani had the ball and then he gave it to you. Was it always determined that you were going to take the penalty if a penalty came, or was that just kind of spur of the moment? I guess how did that happen, that decision?
Yeah, it was just a bit of, I think, gamesmanship. I think we decide everything weeks, days in advance, whatever. But I think it's just one of them things. I think next week it could be him, could be someone else. I think we're just at that stage now where whoever feels like we want to do it, and I wanted to do it. So it was one of them things. But yeah.
I guess what kind of confidence or maybe momentum do you think comes from a win like this? Being able to win a game in the final minutes after having 2 losses come that way in the final minutes the last 2 weeks.
I think if you look at our performances compared to since BJ have come in, they've been like drastically. It's like chalk and cheese. You can see how we're playing. It's really good stuff, and I think we just want to put that into results, because at the end of the day, that's what we're based on. And yeah, tonight was important that we got that result, and it's only going to give us confidence going forward. But we just need to keep putting in good performances. That's what we're looking at. But yeah, eventually we will start getting results, and tonight we got it. And yeah, next week we're just going to put in hopefully another good performance and yeah, win.
Sam, in the Cincinnati game and in the Charlotte game, you guys had chances late to either equalize or win it.
Yeah.
Just what did it feel like tonight to finally have a chance and see it go in?
Yeah, I think it's one of them. I think Charlotte was really frustrating because we we conceded 2 goals and was almost on the back foot. I felt tonight we were the ones pushing for that winner. I think that's how it feels from a mentality point of view, whether that's right or wrong. But I think tonight we were pushing for that, and it does feel different. And I felt like I always feel like if I get a chance, I want to take it. And it's just for me mentally, I think I just need to keep going, and chances can come at any minute, so I'll be ready.
And then you just mentioned just kind of the difference playing under BJ. You guys are creating just tons more chances than I think we've seen before. What do you think has been the key to that? I
think just it's hard to say obviously, but it's just one of them things. We definitely got togetherness in the group. That's a big thing. You can see the lads who have been brought in have been really, really good assets to us, and I think just hard work. We've all worked hard. At the end of last season, when we weren't in the playoffs, we were working hard. We was in training every day. We had a good pre-season. I think we just and then obviously if the past 2 results went our way, we could be looking higher at the table. But we're just focusing on performances at the moment. I think we just got to keep doing that, and hopefully we'll be where we want to be at the end of the season.
Sam, you mentioned in your initial statement mentioning slow starts with the team. What do you think from your perspective that could, I guess, help the team get off to a better start rather than a slow start?
Yeah, I think it was just more probably I look at the past in the Cincinnati in this game rather than Charlotte. Charlotte, I thought we started really well. But I think even Montreal to an extent, but I think naturally we're quite good starters. I think we're all up for games. I think for whatever it is, I think we just need to put our foot on the game a little bit more in the first 5 minutes, maybe. I don't know, but we never panicked. I think we knew what we wanted to do, and it was. I was confident we were going to win tonight. So,
having a handful of games under your belt now under BJ Callaghan, what is it for you that is starting to click with your game? You just seem, from an outsider looking in, you just seem more comfortable with the ball at your feet and just seeing the game better. Yeah,
I think obviously it takes time. It's hard to. It's easy to say that when you've had. I've almost been here 17 months, I think. But obviously I've had a couple of off seasons, so that's taken up a lot of it. So I think it's just getting used to being away and being different league. And I felt last year I felt like I'd done well in games, and it was just obviously we weren't playing well as a team. But at the end of the day, I think I just want to keep on building every game, and throughout the season I felt like I got stronger and stronger. And then when BJ came on in, I think he helped me go to another level. So I think it's important that we just keep that going. I'm going to keep working hard, and I'm sure the coaching staff are going to keep pushing me and the team. So
Sam, it is difficult to say what team is better in the MLS. I mean, when you compare perhaps the Charlotte game with this one, I might add that maybe this team is even tougher or look tougher tonight. But what makes the big difference is the second half you guys play, whereas on the other game, you kind of, not that you allowed to, but it happened, that the other team dominated most of the parts of the game in the tempo. It didn't happen tonight. What made that big difference?
I think we looked at, like you said, in the Charlotte game, first half, we were really good, and then the second half, I think we just stopped being us, and I think tonight we made sure we were us. We tried to be us for the whole game, not just the first 45 minutes, not just 60, 70, right from 70 to 90. So I think that's the main thing. I think the manager's trying to put into us. We want to be us for the whole 90 minutes, and not let teams get confidence in the game. I think we done well against Montreal, where we went 1-2-3. I think we need to start doing that to teams as well. I think that's the capability we can do, and I think that's what we need to keep doing. So.
And then at some point it looked like again going back to the last game that physically you guys were not up to the par with the rhythm of the game at the end in Charlotte, but tonight, I feel like you could still go still playing right there.
Yeah, I know it's hard. I think obviously you look at Charlotte. I think it was you don't want to make excuses, but it was a tough environment. Obviously, I think you look at what happened in the game. I think it was hot. Like we were winning 1-0, and then that obviously we had that incident with Walker, and I think it did shake us a little bit. I think you look at it, and after that you could see we just sort of stepped back almost. And yeah, I think we look at that and we put it right tonight, where we kind of went on to them, and we were the ones that wanted to go and win the game. And yeah, it was important. I think maybe at Charlotte, I think if we stepped on them a bit more, we would have we could have got that result there. But yeah, I think tonight you just showed we have got the capability to go and beat these teams. So
Sam, is there a number of goals or goal contributions you're looking to achieve this season?
It's hard to say, really. I think obviously in the back of my head there's certain numbers, but at the same time it's hard because you might have games where you want to go and you want to score every game, but I know I'm not going to score every game, and it's one of them things where if I just get a chance I want to score. But I think the main thing is with this season, I know that if I'm being a big asset to the team, other lads are going to score. And you look at, we've had however many. Dan Lovett scored tonight. I'm not sure if he scored before this season, but he scored tonight. Obviously you had Josh Bauer score 2 as well. And you look at these lads that are scoring all over the pitch. I think that's only going to help me and Hanny, and obviously the other attacking players, I think, because it takes the pressure off you, and you want obviously not everyone drifting towards you. Sometimes you want other people to be taken up in the box. So yeah, it's nice to see other lads scoring as well. But yeah, for me, I'm not going to say a number, but at the same time, like in the back of my head, I think there's certain numbers that I do want to hit. But look, if we win the MLS Cup and I've got 2 goals in the season, I don't really care. So
I think Dan had scored twice before tonight for NSC.
Yeah.
So
just
to answer your question.
Sorry, Dan.
On a lighter note, I've never seen a celebration like yours. You went over the board and then you came back on. What were you thinking?
To be fair, I can't lie. I was just obviously I was happy. I think it was a pressure moment, but at the same time, I knew I was going to go before, and I was confident that as long as I just hit it well in that spot, then it was. I seen him. I knew he was going to dive, so it was just one of them. Just put it down the middle, and yeah, I think after that, I didn't really plan my celebration. I just sort of just started running around, but I knew my family were in that part of the crowd, so I went left, and then I realised I need to go right, and I just thought I might as well just jump over the barrier, but. Yeah, it was a good moment, and I want many more of them this season. So,
all right, thanks, Sam. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.